among those stellar personalities, Mr. Mark Cooper. He is the Chief of Staff for Governor John Bel Edwards. Hey, Mr. Mark, welcome back to Kiel. How you doing this morning?
Hey, good morning, Robert, and go Tigers.
Yeah, no doubt.
You stayed up late too, huh? What time did you go to bed?
Well, I don't think I want to tell you that.
Oh,
There's
man.
a lot of cheering going on.
Did you go to the game?
I did with the governor. We were there at the game together.
Very cool.
Okay, let's start here, Mr. Mark. Yesterday, Clay Schexnayder, elected Speaker of the House, not Sherman Mack, who many thought would be. So let's go with this. Is Mr. Schexnayder, was he Governor John Bel Edwards' pick? Was he his favorite? And if so, why?
Well, I don't think he was his favorite or his pick all along. What the governor said is he wanted someone to be Speaker and also President of the Senate that he can work with. So he just, he was not actively engaged in the selection of the Speaker. But certainly, we like what we're hearing from Speaker Schexnayder with the people he's talking about bringing on his team. And, he's a very conservative Republican, so it was really kind of humorous to see some of the things that were being said about him. So, again, what we want is just someone we can work with, and we feel like he is someone that can do that, as well as the President of the Senate that was selected. So, no, he's happy about that, but he was not handpicked. He was not involved in selecting who that was going to be. That came, actually from the Republicans. But no, he's happy with the selection.
Mr. Mark, if Clay Schexnayder is a conservative Republican, why did 100% of Democrats vote for him?
Well, they had to vote for someone, right? But I think what they were hearing too, as well, is that he was willing to. In the last 4 years, the Democrats felt like they were left out in a lot of respects, and they didn't have the right representation on committees as far as the numbers, given the percentage that they represented. Even the percentage, they were, I forget, maybe 40%, but that was not reflected in the committees. And the reason they voted for him was because they liked what they heard and that he was going to be fair, be a fair speaker. And so that's what ended up happening yesterday.
Are you saying the governor made no phone calls in the last couple of weeks encouraging lawmakers on which person he wanted for Speaker? None? So if a lawmaker tells me they heard from the governor, they're lying to me?
No, I'm not going to say that he was not actively doing that. They were reaching out to him, both Schexnayder and Sherman Mack.
Pardon me, Mark, you just said they were reaching out to him. They were reaching out to the governor.
And to say that he didn't make any phone calls, I'm not going to say that. But I couldn't tell you specifically any lawmakers that he spoke to. Now, of course, he meets with the Democratic caucus. I mean, that's something, when I say the caucus, he meets with leadership on both sides. So to say he doesn't have conversations, he didn't have conversations, that's not accurate. He did, but he was not actively involved in selecting who that person was going to be and also lobbying, the Democrats or even the Republicans for who they were going to vote for.
Is Schexnayder the lesser of two evils for the governor?
Well, I wouldn't even say that. I think he's going to be a good speaker. I don't think, again, he's based on what he's told the Democrats and the Republicans on what kind of speaker he's going to be. I think the governor's happy with that. So I think we'll see how things go. Of course, we won't know until the session, right? So we'll see how it goes. But the early indications are very positive, and we're excited about that.
When you say he's going to be a good speaker, can I read between the lines and say that means the governor thinks he is more amenable to meaning the governor's ideas, as opposed to the Republicans in the House?
Well, again, I think what it means is that when it's what's right for Louisiana, that he'll come to the table and we'll talk to the governor and try to reach compromise when compromise makes sense. We know that he's going to stay true to his core principles as a Republican. Again, the governor is a conservative governor, so it's not like there's some radical agenda out there that we're going to be going after the speaker to support. We just want to do what's best for the state of Louisiana, and the governor feels that, based on what he heard from Clay, that he'll do that.
Talking to Mark Cooper, the governor's chief of staff. You know what shocked me about yesterday's event was how big a role Bobby Jindal played on that stage at that podium after hearing the governor bash Bobby Jindal for the mess he left the state in, and then he made him a part of his inauguration. Why?
Well, that's just that's common courtesy. What they do during inaugurations, former governors are invited, and I think the governor wants to. Governor Jindal did some positive things. I was part of his administration for the first term, but that's just something that the governors do during the inauguration. They invite former governors, and unfortunately, it was only Governor Jindal and Governor Edwards that were able to make it. I think the other two were unable to because of health reasons. But that's a normal thing that occurs.
Sort of a two-parter here, Mark. Is it in your mind, in the governor's mind, in his administration's mind? Is it fair to say that he and maybe you feel as though the governor outmaneuvered conservative Republicans, dare I say, once again? And if that's the case, are you guys kind of spiking the football, gloating about it? Is that too strong a word?
No, I don't think that's true. And to say that he outmaneuvered, again, he was not actively involved. I mean, that's something that came through the House. He did not elect the Speaker. The members of the House did, and I think it was 23 or 24 Republicans that voted with the Democrats. And I think what occurred was they truly wanted to be independent, and there were a lot of outside influences that were involved. And I think that's what made the difference.
Mark,
and one of those outside, go ahead.
I just say this with such skepticism because of what typically happens in government is that deals are cut, things are promised, and that's what this smells like to the average
Right.
Jane in the state of Louisiana. Did the governor offer anybody anything to vote for Schexnayder?
No, he did not. And Aaron, if that was the case, then I think you would have seen a Democrat number 2 in the House, Speaker Pro Tem, and that just didn't even happen. So they elected another conservative Republican to be the Speaker Pro Tem. So if there were deals being cut, you would think that's what would have occurred, but that didn't. Again, the governor just wanted someone he can work with. So nobody was promised anything. So I think at the end of the day, we got the right speaker.
When you describe Clay Schexnayder as a conservative Republican, do you think Sherman Mack and the other Republicans that didn't vote for him would describe him as a conservative Republican?
If they were being honest, I think they would be, and I think they would tell you that. And I think that they'll come together. That's usually what happens after these type of elections, and they'll come together and work together. I mean, I believe that Clay supported somebody else for governor. So, I mean, to say that he's not conservative would be inaccurate.
I mean, I guess my question would be, if he's a conservative Republican, how would you describe Alan Seabaugh or Dodie Horton or Raymond Cruz, those guys?
Well, I think they tend to be a little bit farther to the right. And, again, we're hoping that they'll join and work with us, in this next term, because they've done some positive things, and, we all need to work together. And I think they would tell you that Clay is conservative.
Can you do one thing for me, or ask the governor to do one thing for me, please? Can we have more representation from Northwest Louisiana on the committees that matter? I went through that list last year, and it's abominable how few key positions Northwest Louisiana has, and it's shameful.
Well, again, that's something that the former speaker did, and that's one of the things the governor, I think, that we're all excited about, is that we will have fair representation. He's been very supportive of North Louisiana. I think you both have seen that, and that's something that we will be pushing for. And I know that there were several, when I say several, I can't give you the exact number, Republicans that voted for Speaker Schexnayder, including Bagley up there in North Louisiana. I'm sure he's going to have a role. So I think you will see that representation, and making sure that North Louisiana is represented.